We believe that this matter was done when Durk's attorneys were about to submit a motion to dismiss, but more than 230 GW of uncut video and audio recordings have emerged, some of which show Durk's involvement in a second murder as part of a larger scheme. Durk's sentence might be increased from life in prison to death in this second murder case. It's so absurd that even assisting the federal government is no longer an option. Interview was your caller? Serial. Wordboard 28. What secrets do these revelations hold? Could the evidence be genuine? And most intriguing of all, could Durk be going to be put in the electric chair soon? Let's examine the shocking Chicago murder allegations. For those who haven't been following the tea, Lil Durk's government named Durk Devontae Banks was arrested in Florida in October 2024 on serious federal charges related to an alleged when federal prosecutors linked Durk to a second uncharged murder. For hire plot in Chicago during a detention hearing on December 12, 2024, they planted a bomb in the courtroom by connecting him to the January 27, 2022 drilling of Stefan Mack, a 24-year-old alleged shot caller for the Smashville faction of the Gangster Disciples. Matt's body was thrown outside the courtroom by a wild homie. Ironically, the Youth Peace Center of Roseland on 111th Street is a place that should be safe in a neighborhood where shootings occur frequently. Matt was shot in the head and chest and was taken to the hospital. A 40-year-old security guard also sustained a leg shot in the crossfire, but he survived. Two Chicago men, Anthony Montgomery Wilson, 24, and Preston Powell, 23, were charged in 2023 with Mack's murder and were charged with conspiracy for allegedly drilling Mack for a bag. But the million-dollar question was still who posted the paper. According to recently released federal documents, prosecutors believe the money trace points to Durk. So what is the alleged motivation behind this hit? The feds claim that Durk ordered Mack's body as payback for the June 2021 murder of his brother. Dante Banks, also known as Thang Thang, who was 32 when he was clapped and shot dead outside Club O, a strip club in Harvey, Illinois. The new receipts come from a warrant application filed in April 2023 that remained sealed until December 11, 2024. Conveniently just one day before Durk's detention hearing for the LA case. The scene was chaotic on the early morning of June 5th, 2021, with multiple shooters letting off and a Harvey police officer even getting wounded in a separate altercation. The information includes some outrageous claims that Durk was offering. Money for the FBI believes that the Smashville faction of the GDS is responsible for D-Tang smoking, and Mack was allegedly running a set with ties to Smashville. The unsealed warrant application, supported by an affidavit from FBI Special Agent Thomas Callahan, claims that Durk funded or planned Max's drilling as retaliation. Particularly, it offers to pay money for any gangster disciple who is killed, for the death of his brother, effectively placing a bounty on the heads of GD members. What makes these accusations especially spicily, however, is the evidence that the FBI has stacked up the investigation into Mack's murder, linking Durk to the alleged triggermen, Montgomery Wilson and Powell, from a variety of angles. For example, text messages implying that money was exchanged for the hit information from confidential informants, street snitches, and phone records analysis, demonstrating ties between Durk and the gunman, and possibly the most damning social media posts, such as one that asks, "Did Durk give you that money?" Which prosecutors are interpreting as proof of payment for the body. Prosecutors have also cited lines from Durk's 2022 song, AA, released on February 22nd, 2022, as possibly alluding to Max's murder when Durk spits, "My brother Dang just got killed and I." The FBI claims to have pictures of Durk with Montgomery, and they are using lyrics as evidence, which is similar to what they are doing in the LA case, which has many members of the public worried about artistic expression being misrepresented in court. Gang, but we got back on their ass. I bet they are aware of this. Wilson's direct connection between Durk and one of the alleged shooters has not been fully revealed in public reports, and it is crucial to remember that as of April 27th, 2025, Durk has not been charged in relation to Mack's murder. The Tribune and other sources state that the investigation is still ongoing, but no indictment has been dropped, which emphasizes that these accusations are still preliminary, currently being used to harm Durk's reputation in the LA case rather than as a standalone prosecution. Durk's legal team, headed by lawyer Jonathan Brayman, has categorically denied any involvement in Mack's murder. At the detention hearing in December 2024, Brayman said, "That's other people, our client has nothing to do with that." The defense is arguing that Durk isn't charged in the Chicago case. Assistant U.S. Attorney Ian Yanalow contended at the December 12, 2024 detention hearing in Los Angeles that Durk's alleged involvement in the Chicago drilling, along with claims of bounties on others, demonstrates a pattern of corruption. Prosecutors are using unsubstantiated allegations to poison the well in the LA case, where Durk is facing completely separate charges despite the lack of formal charges. Dangerous behavior. U.S. Magistrate Judge Patricia Donahue agreed, rejecting Durk's $3 million bond request, effectively keeping him in custody pending trial. The use of the Mac allegations in the LA case has legal experts questioning whether uncharged conduct should be permitted in pretrial proceedings. Legal analysts say that such allegations can affect judges' perceptions of a defendant even if they aren't directly related to them regarding the actual charges. The ongoing investigation into Mac's murder may result in additional charges, further complicating Durk's already complex legal situation, as demonstrated by the alleged incident between DT Thang and Max's people. Factions like Smashville operating under different hoods cause both internal and external conflicts. The tragic irony of Matt being smoked outside a youth peace center illustrates how violence can infiltrate even places intended to provide community safety. These accusations against Durk also call into question the hazy boundaries between his music career and purported gang affiliations, with prosecutors claiming that it serves as both a music label and a formal criminal organization. The Chicago allegations are especially noteworthy because they may show a pattern. If Durk did plan Mac's murder in January 2022 in retaliation for his brother's death, it would strengthen the prosecution's argument that he later planted a hit on Quando Rondo in August 2022 in retaliation for King Von's death, of course. It's important to keep in mind that Durk hasn't been charged in the Mac case, and that, like all defendants, he's presumed innocent until proven guilty. The fact that prosecutors have relied on informants in social media posts raises doubts about the strength of the case, and specifics like the text content or the credibility of these snitches aren't made public. Use of lyrics as evidence is particularly contentious. Critics contend that rap music is frequently exaggerated or fictional, and that treating bars as literal confessions misunderstands the artistic conventions of the entire genre. Rap artists, especially those in drill music, are disproportionately affected by this practice, as violent imagery is a part of the style rather than necessarily an admission of actual acts. Durk's legal battles are centered on this controversy. In order to comprehend how it all came to pass, we must go back to the initial murder-for-hire case in Los Angeles and the landmark motion his legal team recently filed, arguing that key evidence against him is demonstrably false. A thorough examination of Lil Durk's charges is necessary. Few names in the rap industry are as synonymous with the streets of Chicago as Lil Durk, who is known for fusing raw emotion with hard-hitting lyrics. Durk has established a niche that presents him as a musician and to some, a symbol of tenacity. But beneath the music is a web of legal issues that has now drawn him into a serious federal investigation. The recent indictment against Durk Banks, whose real name is Durk Banks, illuminates a world that is very different from the recording studio, one in which alliances, grudges, and treachery create a plot that reads like a thriller. The origins of Durk's legal issues stem from a well-publicized feud in 2020. The feud between Durk's rap collective, Only the Family, and rival faction intensified after Devin Bennett, also known as King Von, was murdered. This feud was sparked by the death of Durk's close friend King Van, who was also a F artist. The indictment against Durk claims that this feud escalated to the point where he attempted to kill his opponent. By all means necessary, Quando Rondo's witnesses and confidential sources have informed investigators that Durk allegedly placed a bounty on his life in order to see the feud end with his rivals' deaths. This bounty would set off a series of events that resulted in a violent scene at a gas station in Los Angeles, and ultimately a federal investigation. On August 19, 2022, tragedy struck when a hail of bullets erupted at a gas station near the Beverly Center in Los Angeles. According to police investigations, witness statements, and security footage, 3 masked shooters opened fire on Rondo and his family members inside a black Cadillac Escalade. Police found 18 shot casings at the scene, demonstrating the attack's extreme savagery. However, Rondo managed to flee while his cousin, SR Savishka Lulu Pau Robinson, was killed. In the hail of gunfire. Durk's name became a key player in the investigation when it became evident that this wasn't a random act of gang violence. Law enforcement found connections that suggested that Durk and members of his F-Circle had planned the crime carefully. The financial records that investigators found show a well-planned plot with money from Durk's organization allegedly being used to finance the hit. According to the affidavit bank and flight logs showed that a number of important participants, including those named as co-conspirators 2 and 3, went to California on August 18, 2022, just one day prior to the shooting. These flights were paid for with an American Express card connected to Durk, and investigators also discovered text messages between Durk and his co-conspirators, in which Durk allegedly warned co-conspirator 3. The advice was to don't book no flights under no names involved with Sick Memi, which was intended to reduce any paper trail that would link Durk directly to the operation. Additionally, surveillance footage showed the movements of 2 white cars, a BMW and an Infiniti, that followed Quando Rondo's Escalade around Los Angeles. These cars were later connected to Durk's co-conspirators who had flown in from Chicago. To carry out the hit, the blatant assault at the gas station did not go unnoticed though, and federal and local law enforcement stepped up their surveillance of Durk and his associates, which resulted in a wide-ranging set of arrests on October 24, 2024. By that time, 5 men who were identified as F members and known gang associates from Chicago were in custody. They included Kevin Grant, DeAndre Dantrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Lindsay, and Asa Houston, all of whom were charged with conspiracy to commit murder for hire. As the FBI became aware of Durk's own attempts to escape, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, reported that he had scheduled 3 separate international flights within hours of his associates' arrests. The destinations, Dubai, Switzerland, and Italy, were chosen strategically because they would make it more difficult for U.S. authorities to pursue extradition, but the FBI caught him before he could board any of the flights, sealing his fate and solidifying the legal case. Case that would soon be made public. The investigation threw a harsh light on the collective that Durk has led as a rap group and a representation of Chicago street culture. However, the indictment charges F with being more than just a music collective. From the perspective of law enforcement, F is described as an association that actually functions as a criminal syndicate, carrying out activities ranging from assault to murder, according to federal documents expected to carry out Durk's orders, with violence, allegedly as a way to preserve their status and reputation within the group. According to court documents, co-conspirator 3 and member played a crucial role in planning the murder for hire plot's logistics, from arranging travel and housing to obtaining the necessary tools. He served as a coordinator using funds from American Express accounts, and Durk himself was co-conspirator 3, allegedly organized flights, lodging, and rental cars for Durk while he was in California in the days before the shooting, staying in an Anino rental home with important members of the FF Circle. This tightened the web of evidence that prosecutors would eventually construct around the rapper, but as the layers of evidence and charges grew, a new revelation surfaced that would shock everyone. Durk's defense within the close-knit group. There are rumors of betrayal from a reliable affiliate who had been operating in the background for years while also giving the feds information. Loyalty is everything, or so it seems, but Lil Durk's world has been turned upside down by betrayal from within his own crew, F Only the Family, revealing flaws that no one anticipated with his resent if you pay close attention to Lil Durk's lyrics. He's been signaling loyalty and watching his back for a while. Songs like Pelode and Reezy are full of coded messages, stories of friends flipping, and lines that suggest a lurking danger. Indictment on murder for hire charges is now a reality. Someone close to Durk, a trusted member, has been working with the feds, slipping insider information about F's moves, and setting up a case against the rapper himself. Even as Durk rose in the charts and became well known, he appeared to be plagued by the fear that someone close to him might turn on him. The current accusations and charges make these lyrics resonate in a different way, suggesting that Durk may have sensed the betrayal coming but was unaware of how close it would come to 50 Cent, a rap legend with his own share of industry feuds and betrayal stories, who noticed something was wrong. During a recent interview on The Breakfast Club, 50 talked candidly about his advice to Lil Durk as the murder for hire case heated up. Just watch your crew. The two had collaborated on Power Powder Respect, the theme song for Power Book 4. Force, a Chicago spinoff, as well as the 2022 project 50 Cents and Energy within F. "Yo, this is them. Just watch him and his crew," 50 said. As per 50 Durk's response, it wasn't just a casual warning, it was a gut feeling from someone who's seen how entourages can turn deadly. However, something odd had already occurred. Interview.14, 27/14/35. The incident planted even more doubt in Durk's mind, especially after his Brazelton, Georgia home was broken into in 2021. While he and his then girlfriend India Royale were inside, they escaped unharmed, but the fact that people knew his location bothered Durk. The breaking point, this sense of betrayal wasn't just speculation, it was reality for 50. It was deja vu, reminding him of his own days when he watched his crew closely questioning their moves. "I've always had that energy myself in the middle of everything going on," he explained, hinting that Durk might need to take a similar stance to protect himself. He even joked, "If you got pulled over and you're not in jail, why are you not in jail?" And the message was clear. Something in Durk's camp didn't add up. The rumors point to one man in particular. FF Jam, known as a longtime member, Jam had spent over a decade in prison on an attempted murder charge, a crime that supposedly cemented his loyalty to the crew. But since his release in 2022, whispers grew that Jamhad flipped, wearing a wire for federal agents and feeding them information on F's activities. It's not just hearsay. Sources say Jam allegedly provided direct evidence linking Durk to a murder for hire plot aimed at rapper Rondo, real name Tyken Bowman. According to Chicago rapper King Yella, Jam even implicated Durk in the killing of Lupab, Rondo's cousin, a hit supposedly done in retaliation for the murder of King Von, ANF member and close friend of Durk. What started as a bond among street brothers quickly unraveled into one of the biggest betrayals the rap game has seen in the aftermath. Hip-hop insiders and fans alike started piecing together the mystery. A video featuring DJ Academics and Chicago-based reporter Trench's News added fuel to the fire. In the video, Academics discussed rumors that Jam's baby mama had reached out to Durk for help with legal bills, asking for a lawyer when Durk supposedly brushed off the call. Jam felt slighted, interpreting it as a sign of disrespect. "You're not supposed to brush off my call when I need something," Jam reportedly said, furious that Durk wasn't showing loyalty in return. Trench's News confirmed the story, saying, "That's facts," suggesting that Jam's bitterness toward Durk might have played a role in his decision to cooperate with the feds in another shocking twist. Whack 100, a music industry heavyweight, weighed in on Jam's street to snitch transformation. Whack 100 recounted how Jam had once seemed like a solid street, loyal guy who did his time without a word, a reputation that earned him respect. He did 12 years, got out interviewed, said he kept it, real, brought him cars, gave him 50,000. Made mention that ain't no smudge on his name. He ain't never been a rat, caught a gun case, but eventually he flipped whack. Recalled Jam's information wasn't just casual talk. He allegedly gave the feds a playbook, a full breakdown of FF's moves. The indictment reveals that Durk and his crew used coded messages to plan the murder for hire. Durk reportedly texted co-conspirator 3, telling him to be careful about booking flights under certain names, trying to keep the operation clean. The indictment even described how flights, hotel rooms, and rental cars were financed with F's credit cards, booked under aliases, and moved around to keep a low-profile. Surveillance footage showed affiliates tailing Rondo in Los Angeles, leading up to the hit that left Lupab dead. But none of this was enough to throw Jam off the scent. Allegedly wearing a wire and documenting everything, Jam gave authorities a blueprint of FF's movements down to the details of which cars were rented and which flights were booked. Every move, every transaction, and every conversation Jam recorded fed into the case that finally came crashing down on Durk and FDJ Jerry. Jam reminisced about his early days with Durk, describing how Durk's music kept him grounded during his 12-year stint. In prison, I remember Durk was making rap songs for our parties. He shared painting a picture of Durk as someone who uplifted his people, a leader who kept together. That was bro, back before the fame and the money he made a way for me to be straight. Jam described the good times moments that forged a brotherhood between him and Durk. Yet all of this history wasn't enough to keep Jam loyal. Rumor has it that his flip happened after Durk didn't show him the loyalty he felt he deserved. Maybe he felt overlooked or disrespected, but whatever the reason, Jam made his choice in that. choice left Durk open to one of the harshest betrayals in the rap world. In addition to the heartbreak of being betrayed by someone he considered a dear friend, Lil Durk will need to fight for a future that at present isn't looking great due to the developments since his arrest. What the future holds for Lil Durk's recent arrest has rocked his career and brought a wave of rumors and speculation, especially on TikTok, which erupted with talk that the Chicago rapper could face the electric chair. Some TikTok users, like at Indecisive Quan, posted memes and comments claiming that Durk's fate was sealed, saying things like, "Why be in jail? Thug in jail. Durk getting the electric chair. Who the we going to listen to now?" The post went viral, fueling concerns and sparking debates among Durk's fans and the hip-hop community. Let's get one thing clear right from the jump: Lil Durk isn't facing the electric chair. The rumors might make good talking points, but there's no official word or court ruling that suggests Durk is looking at the death penalty. In fact, the reality is far from it, while fans might be worried about Durk's fate. California, where Durk's facing the charge, hasn't used the electric chair for years. Back in 2006, federal courts ruled against capital punishment, and Governor Gavin Newsom placed a full moratorium on the death penalty in 2019, so no, Durk isn't facing execution. Despite what TikTok may say, Durk's legal troubles have triggered a cascade of fallout. Just a week before his arrest, the village of Broadview in Illinois gave him an honorary key to Thesity, recognizing his contributions through his Neighborhood Heroes Foundation. But once news of his arrest hit, the honor was swiftly revoked. Broadview's mayor, Katrina Thompson, didn't hold back, saying, "While the American system of justice grants everyone the presumption of innocence in the village of Broadview, the court of public opinion has even higher moral and ethical standards to protect the village's reputation." They cut ties with Durk and his foundation for Durk. This revocation wasn't just symbolic, it was a hard hit to the image he's been working to build. The Neighborhood Heroes Foundation has been a big part of his push to show a different side of himself, the side that's about giving back and being a positive influence. But in the court of public opinion, especially with these serious charges looming, that good image is hanging by a thread. The ripples of Durk's arrest go deeper than just fan speculation and revoked honors. Durk has also been making moves in Chicago's political scene, especially with his recent $150 Hero donation to Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's political committee given Durk's arrest. Many have questioned if the mayor should give back the donation, but Mayor Johnson, when asked, chose his words carefully, refusing to rush to judgment. "You're asking me to make a judgment on a black man before a full trial has actually come to fruition. I hope you do understand why it is not mine." Mayor Johnson's response highlights a deeper issue in Chicago politics and hip-hop's influence on the city. Durk has been more than just a musician. He's been a community figure, even meeting with Johnson twice before making the donation. Durk's future might now depend on whether he can hold on to these political alliances or if those ties start to unravel. Lil Durk's career has been a balancing act between his street image and his push for community change. He's no stranger to legal trouble, but this recent charge is the most serious. Yet Durk has tried to shift his image over the years. In his 2023 Grammy innings song, All My Life, he raps about wanting to change the image, hinting at a future where he's more than just a street rapper. He's launched events, partnered with big names like Bank of America, and used his Neighborhood Heroes Foundation to bring attention to financial literacy and social issues in Chicago. But this latest case could derail all of that. While his fans are still in his corner, public figures and institutions might hesitate to continue backing him, especially with the stakes so high. Durk's path forward now depends on whether he can beat these charges or if he's destined for a long uphill legal battle. For more content like this, click on the videos showing on your screen now.